We are now being joined by WION's Afghanistan correspondent Mustafa Kazemi. Now, Mustafa, provincial councillor of Ghor, Abdul Basir Qadri, has been quoted as saying that the city is in a military situation now. There are tanks on the roads. These were disturbing visuals that we were playing on our screens for our viewers. And what's the latest situation in the province at the moment?
Hi, yes, the governor has properly described the situation over there, because what happened after yesterday's event, it was something that shocked the individuals. Ghor is a small province with the capital of it, the city of Firozkoh, not seeing much of the military on the cities, but with what happened yesterday, it was a major event. And just to prevent the situation from getting worse, by those who the government claims were among the mob of demonstrators that actually shot at the government and other people. The government and the police especially has deployed units of their force protection units and police units across the city to prevent something other than this or worse than this happen in the city. Now we have the government and the Interior Ministry of Afghanistan saying that it was actually shots came from irresponsible armed individuals who had nested inside the mob of demonstrators that killed the people, which includes one journalist as well. And but we have had reactions from several committees that protect the rights of journalists, and the government has not said anything about that yet. But people say that they just did not see anything as such. They say they heard gunshots from several directions, and then government forces started opening fire. The Afghan government has said they're sending a delegation of investigators to investigate what happened actually, but it is going to be a few days before we find out what really happened actually. And as they say, the mob of demonstration was gathered there to protest actually the untimely and unfair distribution of food and ration items happening in that province, especially during the pandemic of coronavirus and the lockdown days.
Absolutely, Mustafa. It's a really sad situation, isn't it? Not just in Afghanistan, but all over the world. There is shortage of food. People are losing their jobs by record margins. And the situation is no different in Afghanistan, a country that has been war-torn for decades now. You know, people from both sides have lost their lives, even the protesters and the police force. Policemen also lost their lives, including a journalist like you're mentioning as well. Really sad situation. What's the latest as far as Afghanistan's fight against this pandemic is concerned? How many are infected and what's the death toll?
Recent figures shared with us by the health ministry is just over 4,000, and it's been just 24 hours that we are still waiting to see what is the new figure saying. There's a press conference going on at the moment. The health ministry, which we expect the recent figures will be released, but the deaths have surpassed 100, and the health ministry is saying that now they're not in shortage of tests, especially the RNA, as they mentioned it, the RNA extraction kits and other rapid tests to conduct more tests in Afghanistan. But as we speak to the health analysts and other medical analysts, they say that the problem still remains that the Afghan government health system is so weak that we are testing no more than a few hundred samples. For example, in the past week, the top number of suspected individuals tested was 700. And out of that, 370 of them came positive, which was a record high in Kabul. But we expect that this number go up. Citizens do complain, but the government just keeps telling that we are trying to increase our figures. But the health analysts tell us that the positive number of COVID-19 patients, the actual figure is far more than 4,000 or 5,000, just as the government says.
Absolutely. Mustafa, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. And it's seriously a very serious situation that Afghanistan is facing at the moment. Now, today is day 4 of India's massive repatriation mission, INS Jalashwa, with 698 Indian nationals from Maldives arrived at the Kochi port a short while back. These are visuals of the Navy vessel nearing the Kochi port with almost 700 passengers on board. Now, special arrangements have been made at the Kochi port for the arriving passengers. Ambulances are on standby and all evacuees will undergo temperature checks before being placed under quarantine. As you can see on your screens, passengers have started disembarking from the vessel. They will now undergo health checks and a 14-day mandatory quarantine. As part of Operation Samudra Setu, the second Navy ship, INS Magar, is expected to depart Maldives later today. The ship will be carrying around 200 Indian nationals from Maldives. Both ships, INS Jalashwa and INS Magar, are expected to repatriate another group of Indians to Tuticorin next week. The passengers will be first taken to the Malé airport for immigration and other formalities, following which they will board the Indian Navy vessel. On the air evacuation front, 8 flights are scheduled to arrive over the course of today. 4 flights will be arriving from the Gulf nations that remains the focus of this repatriation mission. 2 flights from Doha will be landing in Kerala, and 1 flight each from Kuwait and Riyadh as well. 2 flights are also scheduled to arrive in Delhi and Mumbai from London.